What's going on, social media family? I know this kind of looks weird, but I'm having some technical difficulties here, and the devil is hard at work on this situation. Uh, but you know me, I'm not going to make excuses. I'm going to make adjustments, and so I'm coming at you for a hot moment from my cell phone while we see if we can get this situation together. So one of the reasons we have an absolutely good show for you is because whenever we have technical difficulties is usually a situation where the information is so good, some sources are trying to stop you from getting it. And I'm still working on this back end right here to see if we can get connected in our normal way. But if not, we're gonna make it do what it do. So in the meantime, while I am doing that, I want to introduce you guys to our very special guest. And because she's like that, I'm gonna let her take over and tell her about herself and everything for a minute while I'm working on this back end. Let's see. Here we go. Never did this one part for the cell phone. Hey, how you doing, Sherri?
Hi, you did it, you did it, you did it. How are you doing, love?
Well, not quite. We're still trying to work this thing out. But I wasn't gonna let the time lapse because the crazy thing, like, except for like LinkedIn and Facebook, and there's certain ones that if you go so far past the start time, it
Yeah,
won't allow you to come on, right? So of
yeah.
course, I was having all of these little doohickey problems because I'm traveling, and like the pieces wouldn't talk to each other. I was like, I'll just restart the computer. And of course, it took forever to boot up and then wouldn't go where I needed to go. But go ahead and tell people a little bit about yourself while I get this thing worked out.
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's your girl, Sherri Summers. I am your financial life coach. I am super excited to be here. I specialize in helping you to rewire the way you sell when it comes to attracting revenue. Along with that, I also am known as the queen of life insurance. So I also help my client to build, grow, and protect their money. So when it comes to sales and all things thinking high value so you can attract the life you desire, that is me. I am super excited to be here. I am always wanting to help you again think in a higher caliber so you can attract sales, not just attract sales, but also rewire the way you think so you can position yourself to your ideal client. And when we talk about build and when we talk about grow and when we talk about protect, those are my favorite thing right now. When we talk about build, protect, not just showing you the money, but also what do you do with the money when you get it, right? So that's where the life insurance piece comes in. I coach a life insurance a group of ladies, and I'm a life insurance professional myself. I am super excited to be here. A little bit about myself. I started off in this industry um, as a property preservation specialist. And I'm going to dive deeper into that and show you how you can shift, right? How you can pivot yourself, especially with the pandemic. I started off with that coming from being full time in my career as a in the enforcement, as was in the correction space. And I remember while sitting there and doing security with the inmates, I remember picking up a book. And I think everybody and their mama who's entrepreneur has read that book, that Rich Dad Poor Dad book. And that book really helped me transform my life. I started off in that space, and when I read that book, I wanted to get in some form of real estate. So I got in property preservation. And from property preservation, I'm like, oh, I love this. I was able to generate my first 85K in a revenue my first year out. And I'm like, man, wow, because normally you lose money when you first start off in business. So I said, okay, whoa, this is good. Can I repeat it? And I started off in that space because I wanted to, that of course, property preservation leads to wholesaling. And after that, I'm like, one of the things I realized with property preservation though, you have to make sure all your clients, all your peoples are working, right? So if I fly out to speak, I didn't have the opportunity to, when the boss is away, everybody want to play. so I started off in the property preservation space. And when I started off in that space, I wanted to figure out how do I get in a space where money reside, right? Where money resides. It's horrible with my money. And I mean horrible with my money. Had the degrees, I had the accolades, but I was horrible with my money. So while in proper preservation, that is when I said, okay, what space do I need to jump into to get better with my money and my mind? And that's when life insurance, the short version, comes in. Comes in. Are you back now? Are you ready to go? Because I'm ready for the people. But before you jump on, y'all, go ahead and tag your business bestie. Go ahead and make sure, because some gems and some nuggets is going to be dropped. And I want you to be able to make sure you grab your Diva notebook and your diamond pen. And make sure you get ready for the gems that we're getting ready to drop right now. Tag, tag, tag. Happy Friday. Yay! I'm ready.
Let's get it.
Welcome to Boss Talk Radio, the #1 online business and entrepreneurial talk show. Brought to you by Elite 8 Tax and Financial Services.
Boss Talk Radio, keeping it real, yeah, that's for sure. I said a Boss Talk Radio, here for your needs, we'll crack the code. He the boss.
He gon' fix your situation like there ain't no time for wasting. We ain't playing when we saying
he the boss.
And if you ever have a problem, he gon' show you how to solve it. Listen in and he'll show you he the boss.
Talk.
Here's your host, the sexy tax expert, George Dandridge.
Boss Talk Radio, here for your needs, we'll crack the code. He the boss.
All right, family, we finally got this thing checked in and checked out. I'm coming to you guys from Sacramento, California, and that was a little bit of the delay. As you know, I'm not the tech guy, and I was trying to get everything reconnected and whatnot, and the computer wouldn't speak to me. But our lovely guest Sherri was able to step in and do her thing because that's what she does. That's the benefit of when you have a professional coming on. And that was the first gym without, it was of no, like, I did not intend to do that, but I want you guys to think about that for just a second. Are you ready to talk about your business at the drop of a dime with no prep? Like, it is what it is. Like, you got to get it. If you're not, you have some more priming to do, some more practice to do, because at any point in time, you got to be ready to go to talk about you, to talk about what you do in your business or whatever. So we know the real reason behind the delays, right? It wasn't just the tech stuff. The tech stuff was just a slap on the hand because I've been petty all week, especially the last couple of days, talking about some of these crazy things y'all doing out here in these internet streets or whatever. And that's why we had Sherri on today, because you guys don't really listen to me that much or whatever, but we want to dispel a couple of these myths or whatever, and we want to get into what I call the foundation of generational wealth. So let's see where this all started. We're going to back up a little bit. Y'all, last year we're just getting completely out of the way, telling everybody and their sister-in-law to go and get an LLC. Some of you don't have the business acumen of a rock, and you were going for these entities. And for what? And in some states, that's a problem. A state like California, I'm out here now, visiting with some cannabis clients and whatnot. Do you really want the $800 minimum franchise tax when you don't have a legitimate business? And what was it going to do? Some of the stupidest things I've heard was form an LLC so you don't have to pay child support. Kill yourself. Just go ahead and kill yourself. That is not what it's doing. But anyway, that aside, lately, and it's crazy because I've done 2 episodes, one in each season, about proper structure and trust and things of that nature. And here lately, I forget the rapper's name that said something, Waka Flocka, and then the next thing you know, you have all of these hip hop artists and celebrities and financial gurus getting on this thing talking about trust this, trust that. Let me tell you something. You better not trust them. You better not trust them. And here's the reason why. The only thing worse than misinformation is missing information. When they tell you to go and do this trust, right, and this and that and the third, and the movie from here to there, do they even bother to tell you that there's over 80 different types of trusts? Some clown even had the audacity to post a link for LegalZoom to say, let me tell you something. In 2021, all my cigar money came from people who use LegalZoom to set up their companies, and they missed their annual franchise filing report because they had themselves as the registered agent and didn't do anything except for charge you like a $270 fee or whatever the case may be. So first, let's get right to the root of the purpose of a trust. It's one way to have asset protection and to be able to transfer wealth while skipping probate. That's a very general, explanation of it, if you would. Then we have some really, really complex trusts. We have common law trusts. We have irrevocable trusts. We have all of these different things. And basically what happened was these people got this much information and ran out to charge you sounding like a guru. Now, I've had the people on that really do this thing, and I have clients that are properly structured, that's what we call it, or what have you. And you have some tax professionals, people in my space that think it's just all a crock or whatever. And I always tell them, hey, show me the code to where it's illegal. They can't because it's not. But what it is something the IRS doesn't like. And it is something that's talked about as far as being a promoter. Well, one of the problems is you have these people out here promoting it and not understanding what they're talking about. Right from the door, if you're not bringing in 250 grand a year or have some significant assets or whatever, you probably can't afford a trust. They're expensive to maintain. Every one of my trust clients are paying me somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 6 grand to maintain just the tax side of this thing. And I don't even do anything legal. So imagine what their lawyers are getting paid, So we want to start with the basics. You guys want to start talking about trust when you don't have an asset. Your cell phone's on a payment plan and you want to trust? Come on, let's think about this for a second. You want to trust, but you don't have life insurance. So one of the things that frustrate me is the negative talk surrounding life insurance. People talk about how it's a scam. People talk about how, you can't do this and that with it because it takes so many years to build up this money or whatever. Let me tell you, right there, let's pause right there. Did you know that 5 years start at day one and that if day one never come, you'll never hit 5 years? But keep breathing, 5 years is going to pass anyway. It's kind of like going to college. You can take those 4 years and do that if you want, but if you don't, the same 4 years is going to pass you by. So that's that part. But y'all say it's a scam. One of the stupidest ones yeah, I don't want anybody living off of my hard work when I'm gone. She's not gonna have her boyfriend riding in the Cadillac when I'm gone, and things of this nature. Guys, come on, you sound crazy. That's like, understand this. I forget the number. I think it was 276 years. I think they said it was the wealth gap deal, and they say that's how long it would take for us to close the wealth gap. I propose to you that that's a lie. That's a lie. Thing is that wealth in the past, old money, understand that money didn't just pop out of anywhere. These people were heavily vested in life insurance. If you followed me for a while, you've heard the stories of two clients that were the same age in the same industry, finished school at the same time. And one of them had to like partner with somebody else, get the short end of the stick, have student loans up to here and everything because she had to get it out the mud. The other client, though, simply say, "Hey, Grandma, I just finished school and I want to go ahead and open this business." Okay, well, go see such and such at the bank or whatever. I'll give him a call, and the man cut a check from his trust that was created from life insurance. See, that's the thing. Like, how are you going to fund the trust? You're talking about a trust. How are you going to fund it? They fund it with life insurance. And here is an absolute matter of fact. Of all the types of all the insurances in all the world, you can best believe one thing. It's going to pay out 100% of the times because you're going to die. It's inevitable. It's absolutely inevitable. So, what I'm going to do is we're going to have Sherri educate you guys about some of the different types and purposes of life insurance and how, because did you know you don't have to die to use it? Imagine that. So, sure, life insurance is a scam. Why would I get life insurance?
Well, first of all, number one, we want to get life insurance because somebody's depending on your income, you need life insurance. Really, I mean, let's just say that. So if your income is paying bills right now for a child, if your wife, your family, your husband, whatever it may be, and you want them to maintain that lifestyle while you're gone, you need life insurance. That's number one. If you don't want me, you do not be my inbox calling me about donation or chicken dinners and GoFundMe. You need life insurance. The pastor have enough going on to be having to hold funding for you. Go when you're out here balling while you're alive, you can get life insurance. So that number one, if someone depends on your income, you definitely need life insurance. That's without a doubt. Now, with that being said, yes, that's life insurance has two factors, right? You have your life, you have two parts. You have your term policy, term life insurance, which is, as I said, a term. You got it for a certain amount of time, 20, 30, boom, it's done. Term. It's service time. It's usually cheaper because it's a term. And then you have your other permanent life insurance that's a little more in depth. Some of these insurance are tied to the marketplace and so on. So those more you are able to get the amazing benefits of those type of policy as well. So whether you go term or whether you go permanent, that's up to you. I hear people say too, George. I hear people say this part too as well. Don't get a term. Term is a waste of time. You should never get a term policy, right? That's not true. That is not true. If I have a 30-year mortgage, I would get a 30 to me. That policy, the objective of that policy is to pay off for the mortgage. So
Mhm.
so term has its benefit. There's no such thing as this policy is bad, that policy is good. What we're looking for is what is your plan? What is your objective of having the policy? What is your objective? I have a son. Well, my household, let me just say this for a little bit. When I came into the game, I am known as creating that revenue. So I was clear that I want everything around me to be an asset, even down to life insurance. So if it didn't make money, then it don't make sense. I have a book coming out called The Revenue Experience Playbook, and the whole point of the book is pretty much making sure everything around you make you money. If you're going to invest, everything around you making money. You want to get in real estate. Well, the government already have different discounts and stuff if you get in their type of real estate where you get some tax benefits from that real estate. They're already telling you what
Right.
it is, right?
Like they want to partner with you.
You're already telling you where you should be invested in. So we don't have time to even get into all of that. So I was clear on if I'm going to be paying something every month, and I did my due diligence of remaining healthy and certain things, I'm going to get benefits from that. I have a son in the military, and shout out to the Marines and everyone that's serving our country. And one of the things I did with him, he's 19 years old. I set him up with an Index Universal Life, right? The IUL.
Come on.
So because
That's one right there.
yes, he's
Is
in the
that not
military.
the
He's
sexiest
19.
thing since lingerie?
Listen, we're immigrants, so we go hard over here. We didn't come to this country to play. So we were to get here to be playing around. So my son is in the Marines right now. He's 19, so I set him up with an IUL. So according to his illustration, if he pay his $200 at 19 for the by time he reached 45, he can pull based on how the market is doing $4,000 per month.
Well,
based on how the
Sherri,
market is doing. Based on how the market.
okay.
Mhm. So go
Question.
ahead.
So, that's a long time. You pay into it forever and you end up paying more than it's worth or whatever. I'm trying to say how they say it.
How
It
they
doesn't
say
make
it,
sense.
yeah.
I know you've heard it before.
Yes, correct. And we got to understand, we got to check our source. Sometimes the people that are talking to, they're not the one that we are. And let's be super clear. The people who really know life insurance, the clients that I have, I don't have to convince them to get life insurance because they know life insurance. They just know it's part of their wealth portfolio. Keep in mind, you can put your money in the stock market and it goes down. We're in inflation right now. Let's be super clear. If you're not getting at least 6% of your money, you're wasting your time because we're in inflation right now, right? Inflation is anything that's 5% or below. So if you're not even getting that right on your money, you're just wasting your time. So therefore, the marketplace goes down and it goes up, and you may lose money and so on and so forth. But life insurance is one of those things that has that guaranteed. Right? So it's a tax-free vehicle that is guaranteed that says, hey, and let's say something happened right now this second and you want to pull out your 401k. I did that. I got dinged when I was a cop and get ready to leave law enforcement. I got dinged for pulling out early because I was too young and all sorts of stuff. I had a mutual fund. Because I pulled out too young of the mutual fund, I got dinged for that too. And if you're doing your Roth, you got to pay your taxes up front. So whether you go Roth, where you got to pay up front, or whether you go mutual funds that you got to pay when you pull out, you're still getting taxed, right? But life insurance is one of those things that will not be taxed, at least not yet. But it's right now, it's not. So you have a vehicle that can play in the marketplace that you generate the assets on it. You get to get the money, the return from the thing that is in the inside of the stock market, right? And understand that when everything else drops, your IUL remain at zero. It doesn't go down to negative, right? And you get a 0. Some of the company are giving like 0.25. What does that mean to you? That to the people in the back? What that means is when you have the option of being able to have tax-free vehicle that you can pull from for emergency fund without having those penalties. Now, is there fees? Yes, there's fees in everything. I'd rather pay a 4% fee than go to the bank and buy a car and pay a 10% fee. Okay, so let me tell you about my life because I can't tell you about anybody else. I want to talk about me. So my credit score was 430. 430 credit score, overdraft on my account, college girl, college degrees, like forever, right? But here's the problem. The reason I was able to still do the things that I wanted to do is because of life insurance, is because of having an IUL, or is because of having something where I can pull money from that create cash flow and pay it back. So if I wanted a car, I didn't have to go to a bank to get the money to pay for my car. Right? Because I was paying into something that I can borrow from myself and pay back. Hello, hello, right? I didn't have to go to a bank and sit there in the office.
So,
Hey, go ahead.
are you trying to tell me that you can circumvent credit with life insurance?
Yes.
But
That's
everybody's doing credit repair. That can't be right.
listen, you're talking to someone who has, and I'm telling you from what I do. So I only do what I do. And for a person who went through a divorce and all sorts of stuff and credit score got dropped or whatever it may be, if it weren't for having these vehicles, because I believe that when you're building wealth, you have to have an insurance protection a part of your portfolio. Because
You have to
whether you're
rewind, make a U-turn. You got to say that again because they ain't catch that back there.
when you call yourself building wealth and financial security, you have to have insurance as part of that wealth portfolio. If you don't, your portfolio is at risk. So so let's be super clear. When the market in 2008, when the market crashed, all these people, you know what they live off? Life insurance. You know, when OJ, they tried to get his money and they couldn't get it. Why they couldn't get it? Life insurance, right? We can go all into that. But the point here, the reason why I was able to build capital for my business, having a 430 credit score, is because I invested in life insurance and I was able to pull my money to get the things that I wanted and pay myself back tax free.
Mhm.
Tax free.
So, a couple of points that you made that I want to touch on because uh, there's this culture now, right, where people are they take, age old information and they repackage it in new lingerie or whatever to make it sound sexy or whatever. And it's really just the same thing. So, for you people that hit me up, that you refuse life insurance and then you want to call me and talk about infinite banking. Let me explain something to you. Infinite banking is, in fact, life insurance, and Sherri just inadvertently simplified and explained it and how it works. And then, plus, imagine this. Now, I'm gonna get sexy on y'all for real. Imagine this situation. Imagine you were able to borrow money from your life insurance because your credit score sucked, but you were able to borrow money from your life insurance and you bought this car.
I did 26.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go a step further. Now you actually have something the bank wants because now they don't need your credit score to get it. You have a paid for asset. Now you can actually go and get a loan against that asset. Now, how is it an asset, George? Is a car is a liability? No, it's not. It's paid for. It's the best driving car on the planet. And then you go and get a loan on that particular vehicle that's free and clear or whatever, and you replenish that life insurance. And then pay the bank back their little whatever, because they're going to give you the best rate possible. They don't care about your credit score. They're like, somebody already gave it to you. We don't need to, we got the card, the security now. That's what infinite banking really looks like. That's what leveraging up really looks like, guys. Y'all try to go with all these shortcuts and and the thing has been out there. I'm gonna let Sherri talk about this one. One of the things that hit 2 points here. One of the things I often hear from you guys is, well, yeah, you can put all of this money into there, but then if you get sick or you lose your job and you can't pay it, then you lose your policy and you lose your money. She's going to tell you why that's a lie. And then The next one is oftentimes you guys look for one size fits all, does everything you need to do type of policy. And while we're able to really, really customize these things, what if I told you it's okay to have more than one? That they can actually do multiple things. You can have a term life for, and probably should, for this purpose, and then have this for this purpose. But here's the thing you really have to understand: without it, everything you go out in the world to do to accumulate money and bring it back to you, as Sherri just said, is at an absolute risk. Because if anything happens, you're going to lose it. This, like, it doesn't make sense to not protect it. You bought your car, you bought car insurance, you bought your phone, you bought cell phone insurance. Like, come on, like I don't understand why this is not an automatic. Why this doesn't connect? Like, and I think maybe if we change the name from life insurance to wealth insurance, like, we wouldn't even have to explain this thing, but it really is wealth insurance. Let me, what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. So let's talk about this lie about that people out here telling about how you lose your policy if you lose your job.
So let me say this. There's different type of policies, right? So one of the things, the benefits of having, like, let's say, a permanent policy. Some of these permanent policy has what we call a cash value that is built into the policy. So that cash value is something you can utilize while you are, again, alive, right? Of that are alive. And matter of fact, my son, when I left in the sheriff office, when I left law enforcement, my son had a Gerber life policy. At the time, I would just start my business. So the policy till this day is being paid not by me, but by his cash value. So the money that's built up in a policy for me paying it at the time when I was in law enforcement, that payment every month is coming from the cash value, right? So that's one way. Another way too, based on, let's say you do an index universal life policy, they also has some type of endowment in there that tells you what is the amount that you need to pay to keep the policy active. Now, do understand some things will be shifted around the face amount and so on, because you're not paying at the term that you decided to pay. But you won't. But it's not that the policy would be closed, because those are certain things, criterias that are built into the policy that says, hey, if you, let's say you're paying $400 a month, and now the policy has this endowment that will say that has this term that's in there that says, hey, this is how much you may just need to pay $97 to keep that policy running. I wish at the time, as an agent, somebody had told me that back in the days when I started off interested in this index universal life. So these policies, again, based on the type of policy you choose, have these built-in prevention program that will help you so the policy does not lapse. And another thing we need to talk about is, even if you lose your job, what I tell my clients all the time, we're not about to get you the policy that you can't afford. I still want you to be able to enjoy your life and go to the movies and enjoy time with your family. So I always make sure that when we do a budget analysis with my clients, the policy that they're paying for don't shake the boat. So don't get more than you can afford. And so that's another thing too, to be able to say, hey, I lost my job and I can't pay my policy. But those cash value and those things that are built in is to prevent your policy from being lapsed. Because as I said, 4 years now I've left the sheriff office, and still my policy with my son's policy, Gerber Life, is being paid by the cash value.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I wasn't going to do this because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but since Sherri brought up suitability, we're going to talk about suitability and affordability when we come back right after this.
Get This is Dr. Tamia Guest with Rejuvenating Chiropractic.
This is Nara Reed with Modified Nutrition Health Coach.
This is Karen Marcel with June Street Barbershop.
This is Tiffany Marcel with Marcel Luxury Realty, and you're listening to Boss Talk Radio.
What? Life insurance, the most affordable, risk-free, wealth-building tool in history. Advances in life insurance allow you to plan for college, retirement, invested, unexpected living expenses, and has the power to change the outlook of the next generation. Experts say most Americans are underinsured or have outdated policies. Your life policies should be optimized every 5 years or whenever there is a major life event. Call 866-235-4838 or visit us online at elite8financial.com/life insurance to have the experts at Elite 8 Tax and Financial Services provide you a free quote or a free evaluation of your existing coverage. If you won't do it for you, do it for them. Get behind the shield.
Knowledge, integrity, security, service. Get behind the shield.
So we're back and we're talking about all the many, many benefits of life insurance, protecting wealth, actually, not for when you've passed away. But right before the break, we were talking about suitability and affordability. And I think that is where some of it gets a bad name, because some of you may have remembered people knocking on the door to collect the 60 cents or whatever, and these were basically burial policies. And so you think that high premium policies are not the thing, but burial is just that. Yeah, okay, burial. That doesn't protect wealth. So let's get into a little bit about that. But before we do, I want to touch on affordability, because if I don't hear this thing come up about affordability every other day, I don't hear it once. But I need you guys to stop lying to yourselves. Look down at your feet. Pull up your cell phone. What was the retail value on that? You know, I often tell people when they first come to me, if they're getting a larger tax refund because we haven't worked together yet, hey, why don't you take part of this refund and pay your premium for the year on the life insurance or whatever? You don't have to worry about it. But there are also riders and things like that we can put in place that insures your insurance. Imagine that. You can insure your insurance. Wow. But you guys have to be willing to not only sacrifice for the next generation, but sacrifice for your own wealth. You know, most of you have life insurance because you had to under the Obama administration, the health insurance, I'm sorry, under the Obama administration, but it didn't change how you took care of your health. You see, that's the thing. So when you want to take care of your money, this is just something to protect as you're going along. And it's not a one-time, one fit. This is something you should visit every 3 to 5 years, or whenever you have a major life event, like a new kid or a kid graduated, or, you know, significant income increase based on a job or whatever. All of these things kind of factor into that. But Sherri, let's talk about that suitability piece, because I think that's the part that people don't kind of tie in. Like, we have an obligation and a responsibility to make sure whatever that they get is suitable for them. So talk to them a little bit about why that is.
Well, suitability makes me a lot of money because not all agents are created equal. Okay. Mm-hmm. So for me to talk about suitability, I have to talk about the different type of agents so we can be clear and educated on that. And what I mean by that, I do solely life insurance. That's all I do. There's no Medicare over here. There's no taxes over here. Life insurance is what I do. So this is the part I know. I'm not going to tell you anything about taxes because that's not my space. And what I mean by that is, when you're talking with an agent, there's agents who are captive. Well, what I mean in my definition of captive is that that agent maybe only write policy for that particular company. So should you need a policy because you have an underlying condition, that agent is not independent as I am to be able to go outside of that company and write you a policy. So they're trying to figure out, hey, get this one. And so this policy may not be suited for you. So it's important to ask your agent, are you captive? Or if I find something that's not outside of my realm, can you do this? I had a client that she had some heart issues, and the company that IMO that was under, they didn't have they weren't doing business with that carrier. So I literally went to that carrier and I could do business with that carrier for my client, because my client first, me second. So that's the flexibility of having an independent agent, to where we are, if this does not fit you, we have the flexibility of finding a company outside of another insurance carrier to be able to suit you. Another thing that I see sometimes, and I'm trying to be cautious, but sometimes when we talk about what works well, like for me, when we're talking about a term policy, this is where we get a bad name, right? Because when I'm having to go back and really show the client what they get, yes, that term policy is great, and yes, you're paying less, but understand you have 10 more years left in that policy. Then what? In 10 years, how healthy will you be? If this policy was for your health and to replace your income, and you only have 10 years on it, and when you're done with that policy, you're getting ready to be, let's say, 70, who is now going to re-qualify you and do exams again under that amount? And so we got to be super careful when and getting turned on by shiny object of the premium is super low. And something George says earlier, even when I talk to my clients about IUL, I also say, hey, get your IUL, because you are using that IUL to be able to support your retirement. But that's just supporting your retirement. You may get a term, or you may get another permanent to offset your health. So each policy needs to play a certain part. I have clients that have mortgage protection insurance, and that insurance is just what I said, for the mortgage. I have clients who also say, Sherri, what about a 529? Well, let's be clear with a 529. If you're, which is what
she about to go there. She about to go there.
So I just want you to understand, from a suitability, I say make me a lot of money, because I always have to rewrite some of these policies when I really get in depth to let the client know, listen, that term life that you got that's now going up after 10 years of paying on it, the premium is now going up. That is not going to cover you, because now when it's expired, you have to redo another policy. My dad had $1 million policy, turned 75. That $1 million policy went down to 25,000. We're like, what in the world happened here?
So are you saying that a person should not get a term policy?
Nope, not at all. What I am saying is this: what is the objective of your policy? So when you sit down with your mate, or when you sit down with your partner, like I'm getting ready to get married to my fiance, we have a policy that's just for the mortgage. So if something happened to myself or something happened to him, the mortgage will still be paid with that mortgage protection. So in that type, term policy is good for things like that, right? Now, if I have a business partner and we decided to get into a business together, and the business is going to last 5 to 10 years, term policy is good for that, because it's only for a certain short amount of time. He go his way, I go my way, and she go either way. So having a term policy for a business, yes, definitely awesome. A term policy is good for situations like that. So it's a situation where it's a temporary situation. If you are 18 years old and you're young, and capitalize on that term policy, baby, throw it out there. But understand that you're going to have a mark to say, okay, when I get this age, I'm going to add IUL. Most of my 19 and 20-year-old, they have an IUL and they have a term policy. Right? They know how to do it. My other son, who's 9 years old, of course, y'all already know, hook him up with the IUL. So my 9-year-old, my 19-year-old, and myself, we all IUL over here, baby. And let's be clear on that. We're talking about suitability. Remember when you get these loans or these grant PPP loan, what did they call you to go get? They ask you for a life insurance. So if it's a scam, even the government is telling you, listen, you got our money, we need to put some insurance on you, you know? So I just wanted to kind of point that out. So term policy is based on the idea of what you want the policy for.
And that's if you guys don't get anything else today, I want you to grasp that point right there, that it's not about putting you in the ground and somebody having a great life off of you. It's sustaining everything that, one, you've built, and two, that you care for. Because when you like, one of the ways that I tell people about term insurance is, in fact, the mortgage and the income, because most people only intend to work for a certain period of time, you know. And anytime during that time, if you have a debt, everybody that depends on that income is going to have a problem, you know. So and the same thing with your mortgage. You don't pay your mortgage forever. Well, some of y'all are out here buying $2 million houses at 55 years old. I don't, whatever. You need to read The Millionaire Next Door. Something wrong with you, but hey, do you? Just know that in the process, you want to have that ability to protect it. And a lot of you are only familiar with the mortgage insurance premiums through the mortgage companies, not even realizing that it was life insurance. Did y'all know that a lot of these companies you work for that'll tell you, hey, you want to buy a $50,000 life insurance policy, or it's accidental death and whatever? Did y'all know that they get those for little or nothing? And oftentimes when you're gone, they still pay that policy up on you. If y'all understood how big businesses invested in life insurance, it would scare you. You probably wouldn't even put your social security number down anymore for an application. But go ahead, Sherri.
But that's a good point you just brought out, because another situation is people are getting these things in the mail, inundated with all these mail from the bank, and saying, hey, we can give you all this amount of money for life insurance policy. In the person's mind, they think they have life insurance, and they don't. They have an accidental, which means they're only getting the money if they sued in an accident, or you deem an accident if something happened. If it's natural cause, no, there ain't no money there. Right. So that's why it's so important to do a policy review every year with your agent, because you'll be able to catch certain things. Another thing that I see when we talk about policy review is your beneficiary, the person who your girlfriend, your guy friend, your boyfriend, whoever, y'all was cool, y'all was wonderful, y'all married, you got a divorce now, but you never changed your beneficiary, so you just made somebody else rich, right? So it's so important that you do a policy review every year so you can catch those type of things that you need to make changes to. Another thing I hear people say, oh, well, I don't have a good beneficiary I want to leave this money to. Well, in life insurance, like you just said, you can leave it to your trust. There's different things you can leave your asset to. So it's super important that you do a policy review and understand that there are different avenues that you can leave your money to as well.
So I wanted to ask you about one, and I'm trying to frame this question because it kind of slipped my mind as we were closing on that point. But you mentioned having the objective, the purpose for the policy, and then of course having the review and discussing the beneficiary and whatnot. But I hear like there's this neo culture of financial wizards. They don't have a whole lot of experience like yourself. They read a whole lot, but they TikTok, YouTube diversity thing. And so they've come up with this thing where, yeah, it's better to have a trust in life insurance because your life insurance is going to get held up in probate. Can you speak to that?
Well, and I have a couple of clients that are using the trust avenue. Here's another thing too I want to touch on, because I have clients who will say, "Can I leave my child who's 7? Can they be the beneficiary?" And I said no to that. And I said, put it in a trust. Now, like my motto is control everything, own nothing. Right? Mm-hmm. That's my motto: control everything, own nothing. And the reason I'm saying that too is, even when it comes to putting a trust and even your young child being a beneficiary, what happened is that if you do that, some insurance companies even say no to it. Let's be clear on that. Mm-hmm. But what happened is every time the person who's now your child caretaker has to buy candy, they have to go to court to the attorney to the judge to get him to write off on buying a candy, and school supplies. So they monitor every piece of that money that you have to get. So it becomes tedious and it becomes annoying. But first of all, I love trust, because in real estate, I love probate. I was a probate real estate queen. I love probate. So listen, because and the reason why I'm saying that about the probate is, we always say we're building legacy for our kids. Kids don't want that house. George, got me started up in here. Listen, I am the probate person. Will come. Mama, sister don't want it. The daughter don't want. She got her own. Those kids got their own house. So when we're talking about building the trust and tying herself up, something you said that was so important. Before you said a basic. And because one of my girlfriends called me up and she said, "Sherri, I'm going in crypto." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. You don't want to deter people." But I said, do you have life insurance? Do you have a Roth? Do you have stocks? Because all of that stuff still works. Do you have a trust, right, which what we're talking about right now? Because before we get all into complications of the trust and life insurance and talk about it's tied up, the basics still work. Let me tell y'all something. The people who are in crypto, they can lose the crypto money, right? They can wait. They have money over here that's working. So before you jump in something that you don't know, do the basic. Can we do the basic first? Can we get some money in the basic first? So I really want to touch on that, because y'all out here making people like myself rich.
Where my rewind button at? I want them to hit that again.
You was about doing the basic. That's what you said today. Like,
it's like when something new comes along, people act like what was old didn't work or something. And I'm like, come on. I can't even tell you when the start of life insurance being a part of wealth happened, because it's so woven into the fabric of America, and it's like, hey, crypto is cool. I got some, but here's the thing. If you got crypto and no life insurance, you have a problem, and I'm just saying, people have to learn to order their steps with their disposable income. Just order the steps, because you'll see this thing come back to you, and like I said earlier, time is going to pass. You do what you need to do consistently. Like you mentioned, the 18 and 19-year-olds. Well, hey, when I was 19, I was good at a lot of things. Money was not one of them. And fortunately for me, I had a parent who was good at money. But otherwise, by the time I figured this thing out at 25 or whatever, it's like, man, that was 6 years of savings I lost, So I try to get this to people early in life and let them know, hey, no, you don't have to do the $1 million policy and spend $500 a month. We get some high net worth people, and they think they're just about to dump all this money. And like, hey, there's rules to this. You can't make out. Let's put this in play.
Correct.
What people have to understand is you need a team.
Correct.
You need a complete team, and your life insurance person. They could very well be your financial planner, because many of them have life insurance licenses. It could be a number of people that actually, because they believe in what it is and they're working for the growth of your money, it's going to come up. I'll challenge anybody. If you talk to a financial professional, and I don't care if it's in the way of taxes, investments, crypto, you name it, if they don't bring up life insurance, run. Run.
And George, let's stop on that, because people always say, "Oh my God, you need to go get all these licenses," and I tell them, you need to be the expert. You can't be jack of all trades, right? Because it's like somebody tells you that we do a website, we do social media, we do all sorts of stuff, and you're like, and I sell paparazzi. You're like, what? So what? Even though someone say they sell life insurance and they do taxes and do this, you got to really understand what are they skilled in. So that's why I believe that you do need like 3 different financial advisors, right? And I understand with the terminology what I'm saying, but you need your tax expert, and you need your financial person, and you need your life insurance person, because at no given time is that one person being perfect at all these different avenues, right? At no given time, but they're all there to do what? To help you build, to help you grow, and help you protect your money. So
can you rewind that, because that would need to hit home, because they think I'm petty when I say it, but if your person is selling hair bundles, doing taxes, makeup, life insurance, and like all of the things, like is like, I know a lot of stuff, but I don't deal in a lot of stuff,
because it
I
changes.
deal in this tax space, in this life insurance space, and that's because I was doing life insurance way before I was doing taxes or whatever. But then I learned how important taxes was to the wealth picture. Now, there's some other stuff I can't talk to you about, like you want to talk about real estate stuff, you got to go talk to Sherri with life insurance. I don't do that. That's not what I do. You know what I'm saying? I do what I do. But you have some people out here that's a guru of everything, and they're raping the culture. I mean, like, they're really hurting people.
And let me stop there for a second. If the person can't put their name or their company, on your tax return, they shouldn't be doing your tax return.
Come on.
If they're writing it saying that you're the one that did your taxes, that's the red flag right there. And I've had people where they're like, "Girl, I'm not paying all that money to get my taxes done." Why are you paying a lot of money to get your taxes done? But I know when it's time to go to tax court, right? This past few months ago, I got dinged by the IRS for filing something late, and it was not on me; it was on my account, on my tax account. So I was like, "Deuces, you deal with that," and I wouldn't be able to have the pleasure of them. Oh, okay, we're good. You're good.
You didn't have to look for them, did you?
What? No. And then the same person was telling me that, then they got dinged because the person, and here's another thing too that's I'm big on. They do your taxes, you put it away in a folder, and you go home. You don't know what they did. This person was telling that she has a janitorial business and all sorts of stuff, but they were trying to write off stuff. And the IRS, they got pulled to be audited, and they owe the IRS a whole bunch of money. Had they just get it done right in the first place, and pay now or pay later is one of those things. And those are just things that keep happening just because we're not willing to do things the right way from the beginning, from the foundation. And that's
shortcuts.
It's crazy. We just have to really understand that. And let's talk about writing off. If you are wanting money back from your tax return, you're not talking about building wealth. Because people are talking about.
She went down. She said, "I didn't say it."
If you're
y'all think I'll be planning this, like I don't even send guest questions in advance or whatever, because I don't want to, prime them for this. That was her word. That was her. I say it all the time, but
And let me rewind for the people in the back who didn't hear me. If you're wanting a tax return, if you're building your portfolio and saying, "Hey, I want to get some money back from taxes," you're not building a portfolio. because
That's what
real
happens.
wealth people are trying to prevent from paying so much tax, not getting tax return. You're not going to take my money and then tell me how much I should get back out of my money that I gave you. So what you really, because when it's time for you to get a house or a car or something, you got to show that your business is making money. You got to show that. And if you want to write off all this stuff, how are you going to get the thing that you desire? You want to be able to play with the big boys, but the big boys is not getting tax returns.
Yeah, they're dumping that money in life insurance. So Sherri, uh, people need to get with you so they can get a review. How do they find you?
It's Sherri Summers, ITS, Sherri Summers, and all social media platform. SOMERS. It's not SUSOMERS. It's Sherri Summers on all social media platform. And we will be at you and I will be at the tax conference coming up for the Association of Black Tax Professional coming up next weekend. So we'll be there coming up soon, right? So I'll see you there as well.
Yes. And
In Atlanta, Georgia, baby.
Atlanta will never be the same. So Sherri's hosting, and that's awesome because that's going to kind of put a little filter in, because this ethics class I'm coming with, not ready for it.
Oh gosh, oh Lord, oh Jesus.
But hey, we got to hear the truth sometimes, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That is true, and it's help us to stay in compliance and help us to. And again, we know all our businesses are not equipped, especially if it's a solopreneur, they're not equipped with all the things they desire. But I try to say, let's use our money wisely from the foundation. So when we get further in life, it's alleviate all the unnecessary pain when it comes to finance.
Yes. And do you have any other events coming up where people can catch you and really hear some of your teachings, because you do a lot of speaking where you're really breaking this thing down?
Awesome. Yes, I also will be back in Atlanta for the Taxpreneur Booth Camp. I will be speaking at that conference again right after that on August 12th. I will be at that conference, and I'm super excited for that event as well. I have a group called the Group for Independent Life Insurance Agent here on social media on Facebook. So make sure you check that out. Those are all for independent agents, female agents who want to learn how to grow their life insurance business the woman's way.
Okay, all right. I don't think I want to go in that class, right? We want to thank you for coming on, Sherri. I look forward to seeing you next week and doing all of the events with the luau and black tie and everything. Get my head ready for all of that. So I'll be in Vegas for
all
any
the black excellence coming.
Oh yeah. For any tax professionals out there, you can also catch me in Vegas next week, floating between the NAEA conference and the NATP conference. So be sure to catch us out there as well. And then later in the week, we'll be tearing up Hotlanta. And y'all already know I'm landing at the airport in the Saints jersey. I'm ready to clown. So.
Like you're gonna start off like that? Yeah. Oh my God!
I'm gonna land setting it off. I'm just gonna make it do what it do. I gotta see if my guy got my tennis shoes ready. The 23 tennis shoes, you know.
Oh Lord, you're starting fire already.
That's what I do. It's what I do. But you guys make sure you connect with Sherri, and we're gonna see you guys in a few weeks. We're actually gonna be off air for a couple of weeks because we have some major things going on and some major announcements that'll be coming to you in late August. So again, thank you, Sherri, for being on. Anything you wanted to leave everyone with?
Thank you for having me. I also want to leave the fact that life is a flow, not a force. So get around like-minded people that can build your thinking and shift your mindset to high-value thinking. And I truly, truly believe that what you believe, you can become.
You're gonna repeat that part about the of the like-minded people though, because they need to get that in their spirit.
Correct. Yes. Relationships is super important. I think I said it inside of the group as well, that your relationship will put you in rooms that your degrees cannot even put you in.
At all.
Yeah.
You know. Well, thank you again, and we will see you guys in Atlanta. Talk to you soon.
Atlanta, here we come.